Away from the bustle of big city life in Seoul, this road leads toward North Korea. And today, it's the setting for the 100-kilometer team time trial. We're located north and west of the city of Seoul, 22 miles from the Seoul Sports Complex and the Olympic Park. The team time trial course is on the Tongilo or Unification Road that leads towards North Korea. It's a 25-kilometer course starting at Taejari and basically is a flat, straight ride to the turnaround at Munsan, within 4 miles of the infamous demilitarized zone separating North and South Korea. The team start at 2-minute intervals, making 2 full laps of the circuit for a total of 100 kilometers, or roughly 62 miles.
And in this race against time, the U.S. has borrowed from the triathletes in using the forearm rest handlebars, not practical for mass start competition, but potentially useful in this event on their streamlined bicycles.
And even as the U.S. team members make their final preparations for the start, the impact of the ever-changing technology now being tested in the inspection area as officials of the International Cycling Federation take a very close look at the bikes that are being presented by the East Germans. The radically designed U.S. machines were approved 2 days ago, and now the East Germans seem pleased that their latest lightweight wind-slicing creations have received a similar okay. So now, Brian, all the talk about the technological advances is about to be put to a true test, and the U.S. riders are on the line preparing to do just that.
Well, Gary, it is, after all, a competition among athletes, and the bicycles really have just evened it all up. Everyone has their own special aerodynamic bicycles, and it's going to just come down to the athletes that can pedal them down the road the fastest.
The U.S. team bronze medal winners in 1984 in this event in Los Angeles, but this is a young team, no Olympic experience. They're all facing their first test now in a battle for a possible upset and a shot at a medal.
And they roll smoothly off the line. The leader of the team on the far left there of the screen is Andy Paul, and he is the one with the most experience of the group anyway in this event.
When we finished 11th, and Rick, what are the aspirations of these 4 youngsters?
Well, I spoke to the boys early this morning, and they said they'd be happy with anything in the top 10, which would be a great achievement, as we've never, as you said, finished in that position before.
Well, it's up against a very, very strong competition today from Europe, who will dominate this event today, I'm sure. We've got the 3 top-seeded countries from the World Championships in Vienna, and this is one of the sides. This is Austria, who finished 3rd in those World Championships in 1987.
Well, the Australian team of Stephen Fearless, Clayton Stevenson, Bruce Keach and Scott Stewart really have the job ahead of them here. The Austrian team are one of the strongest contingents here, along with Italy and the USSR. I'd say that the USSR, with the new equipment that they've come here with, as we can see here, the Colnago racing frames, which now seems to be flattened out for aerodynamic purposes, along with the disc wheels, which are almost standard equipment for any of the top teams.
Well, the United States took out the medal in this event in 1984 because of the boycotts, but certainly 72, 76 and 80, the Russians really dominating this event in recent years.
It has been one of their specialties, the 100-kilometre time trial. The East Germans really haven't had the same domination in this event as they have in a lot of the other cycling events, and it'll be interesting to see how the East Germans go with the new equipment that they've got, especially for the Olympics at Seoul.
Well, here's the Italian team, and one survivor from the gold medal side from Los Angeles in 1984, and that's Eros Poli, a seasoned campaigner, and will be leading this charge here for the Italians. They are the current world champions.
Yes, Eros Poli has raced in Australia, raced the Commonwealth Bank Tour 2 years ago, and as most Australian cyclists will know, he's a very tough customer.
Well, we mentioned the dominance of the European countries, and this side has been knocked around a fair bit, though, for various reasons.
Yeah, the Italians had some problems with the illegal drug testosterone, and have lost 2 of the last 4 men that were in the World Championship team from last year.
Well, this course, 25 kilometres out, 25 kilometres back, and then that's the halfway mark, and it starts all over again. And then we just saw the Dutch side come through there. I don't know whether that time will be all that competitive, Rick, on this track.
I wouldn't think so. 1.6, they'll have to go a lot faster on the very smooth track here at Seoul.
We'll talk about revelations. Have a look at this. This will be the bike, the Kevlar bike, which will be used by the world record holder, Mike Maucho, up in that 1 kilometre time trial against Martin Vinnickman on Tuesday night. We're all looking forward to that one. Will that be gold to Australia?
Well, I'd like to say we could all be as confident as Martin is himself. And these bikes really are an advantage, as you can see by that time, 57.55. That's they're well on world record pace.
That's an incredible advantage there by the East Germans. 11 seconds, in fact, in front of their nearest rival. And
the East Germans are actually seated 6th in this event, but I'd say with that time they'd be very hard to beat.
Well, here's the French side coming through in third place at the halfway mark, 58.7, and they're just a little over a minute behind the East Germans. So certainly the pressure being applied at the halfway mark by the East German side. It's not an old side either, Rick.
No, they're a young side, the East Germans. They're, actually, here's a turn-up for the books. The Canadians, who started in front of the Polish team, have been taken over by, which is 2-minute difference for the, from the difference from the start to the time that the next team takes off. So the Polish team have put together a pretty tidy time as well, 58.06.
Well, that's the situation at the moment. At the halfway mark, we have East Germany in front of Poland and France. And I just wonder whether the side here that we see from Russia, who finished second behind Italy in the World Champions last year, can make up ground over the latter part of this race. Welcome back. And when we left you earlier, it was East Germany from Poland and France in this 100-kilometre teams time trial. But the Swedes are certainly throwing down the gauntlet.
Well, they certainly are. The Swedes would have to be the surprise packet of this race. This hasn't really been one of their specialties, but they're performing admirably at this point. They went through in the equal fourth time at the halfway mark, and they're heading towards the finish line right now.
Well, let's watch their time. The best time through at the moment is 2:02:35.7. Just watch the Swedes. Where will they finish here now? They're coming up towards the finishing mark, really powering it out at the moment. This has been a tremendous performance by this young team. And let's just see, as they come towards the finish line, they come at this stage in top position, 1:59. That really is competitive. And here's the powering poles.
The Polish team have already overtaken the Canadians, and they're heading towards the line. They look like they might actually finish faster than the Swedes, who have already gone over the line. Yes, their time's going to be in the high 1:57s, just under 1:58. Yes, they've gone through in 1:57:54.2, which is the fastest time.
Well, I can tell you, Rick, both those times, had that been in LA, they would have been gold medalists on that performance. Only the 2 hours has been broken on one other occasion. That was the Italian team in Los Angeles in 1984. This was the side that went around at 57.55 at the 50k mark, was still ahead at the 75-kilometre mark in 1:27:56. The powerful East German side, they've never yet won a gold medal in this event. Let's see what they can do over the closing stages of the race. They really are powering it out at the moment.
Well, these Kevlar bikes seem to have just been the thing that the East Germans need. They look like they're really on line for a gold medal here. The French team have went through with the halfway mark in third position, but I don't think anyone can beat the East Germans if they can just keep that speed that they went through the first 50 kilometres in.
Well, the French side actually was still in third place at the 75k. Let's see as they go towards the line here at the moment. That's the time to beat on the left, 1:57:47.7. The French really powering home over the concluding stages of this race.
I think they're out of medal contention, actually. I think that around the 1:59.50 mark, that won't be enough for a medal at these Olympics.
Well, at this stage, they're in fourth spot, so their medal chance has disappeared. Pretty savage rate they've been running out there, too, just over 50 kilometres an hour. Well, who have we got now? Here's the Germans, the East German side.
You'll see the last rider has just dropped off. There has to be 3 riders finish this race. The time of the last rider's back wheel is the time that actually is recorded as they go across the line. So there's not far to go for the East Germans.
Well, that rider there is Jan Schur, but as we mentioned, only 3 riders. The back wheel of the third bike is the mark where the final time is taken from. But the East Germans now really powering home.
There's about 500 metres to go at this stage.
Well, they were silver medalists behind the Soviet Union back in 1980 in Moscow. I mentioned earlier they have yet to win a gold medal in this particular event. I just wonder whether Seoul 1980, on what is a pretty flat and very quick course, I think it's been tailor-made for these East Germans.
Especially considering some of the equipment that they've turned up here with. These bikes really are some form of revelation, I think, for the East Germans. The Kevlar material, very light. I was fortunate enough to have a glimpse of them down at the bike track yesterday, and they're very light, very aerodynamic, and they can be the difference, I think, between a gold and silver medal in this event.
Well, the time to beat at the moment is 1:57.54, and that's set by the Polish team. They were also silver medalists in
200 metres to go.
This is unbelievable. Let's just see if they can do it now. The Germans, they're really coming to the fore here. Will this be gold to the East German side? With that revolutionary Kevlar bike it is. The East Germans have won their first ever gold medal in this event, and that's a pretty strong margin as well.
Yeah, 6.5 seconds is not all that far over 100 kilometres, but in the way the sport's going these days, those little hundredths and seconds in 2 hours are the difference between gold and silver medals.
Well, their best ever performance was silver medals in Rome in 1960, in Moscow in 1980 behind the Soviet Union. And Uwe Ampler there, one of the seasoned campaigners on the European circuit and the world circuit. And this East German side of Ampler, Mario Kummer, Heik Landsman and Jan Schur, a very, very proud moment for the East German side. The congratulations there, and they look pretty happy.
Oh, I think they would be. This is a pretty tough event. It's basically 2 hours on the road at full stick the whole way. There isn't probably not really many tougher events in cycling.
Well, the good news is that it's come through as far as the Australians are concerned, as the Polish side received their silver medals in 1988 here in Seoul. A fabulous performance, at best ever, by the Australian team, finishing in 9th spot. That supersedes the result in Moscow in 1980, Rick, and they should be very proud of themselves. The first non-European country across the line here in 88.
Yeah, I think the boys, Stephen Fearless, Clayton Stevenson, Bruce Keach, and the final member, Scott Stewart, will be very happy with their 2 hours and 2 minutes 24.6 in 9th position. As you said, the first non-European team, and a great effort from the Australian boys.
Well, the Swedish side now with bronze in 88, and it's a great moment for the fellow second from the right. That's young Michael Leifus. Today he celebrates his 21st birthday. He finished 30th in the 87 World Championships in the individual road race. But a very, very proud moment. That's him there at the moment. That's how they finished. The German Democratic Republic first with gold, Poland with the silver, Sweden with the bronze, and all the smiles there. That's how they finished. And that time, the best ever recorded for this 100-kilometre event at the Olympic Games. And, of course, Australia finishing in 9th place.